Let's take a look at one of the lesser known or little used features of Google Docs, and that is the research function. So here I have the same Romeo and Juliet paper that I used in my last video, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find tools, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click research. And what will happen is a pop-up window will appear on the right-hand side, and it automatically defaults to researching for the last word that comes after the cursor, and that just happens to be the word does. We can clearly get rid of that. But what the research feature allows us to do is it allows us to search for information on a topic, and we can find images or quotes, and we can insert those directly into our document. Now, I certainly wouldn't use this function for a full-blown research paper because you'd want students to have multiple different sites, and you'd want students to have different sources than just the Google search that they're going to get. But this can be nice if you just need to add one or two pieces of information into your paper. So let's say here I am, again, writing about Romeo and Juliet, and maybe I wanted to find some information on Shakespeare. So what I can do is I can simply begin typing, and a Google search will be performed. The default is that Google searches for everything. So it will search for images, scholarly articles, quotes, dictionary references, and any tables that have to do with Shakespeare. So I can filter this, or I can leave it on everything. And let's say that I really needed to cite or to get this information from the complete works of William Shakespeare. Maybe it's what I used in my paper, but I forgot to cite it. I can go ahead and I can actually click the cite button, and it will give me in the footer, which as we know is not necessarily the proper place for a citation, but it will give me the MLA citation for this work. I can also click insert link, and it will give me a hyperlink directly to this website. This is great if we're not writing a paper. Let's say we're working with colleagues on some lesson planning, and I do a Google search and I find a lesson plan. I can quickly insert the hyperlink for the teachers or for whoever I'm working with to be taken directly to the document. And the last thing I can do is I can preview that. So let's say I want to look at it and I can preview and I can say, oh yeah, this is what I want to use. Or maybe it's not what I want to use. So you can see here's my link, here's my footnote to my citation. The other thing that we can do is, if we pull this drop-down menu, is we can filter what type of images we will get. So if you want licenses that are only free and open source, I can certainly click on that. And then those are the ones that I know I can insert without having to do any sort of citation with them. I can also decide, in terms of citation, what format do I want. And in Inquiry Schools, we tend to use MLA, so I would keep it on MLA formatting. And I can get rid of this stuff by just clicking undo, and it will all go away. Let me go back here to search for images. So here I will get a bunch of images of Shakespeare, and let's say, you know what, I really need an image of Shakespeare with a Yankees hat on and an iPod. This is really going to enhance my paper. I can drag the image, you see I get a plus sign, and I can drop it right into my paper, and I get a little one that allows me to actually then have the citation for that image. This, to me, is a great teaching tool for students because very often our students will use images without worrying about any copyright or any licensing, and this lets them know that, yes, we got this image from somewhere, it was not something we created, so here now we have a citation for that image, which I think is very important as well. So basically anything that you might find in the research function, we can insert in our paper. So now we're on quotes. Let's say I said, you know what, I really need a quote in here. I can hover over this quote. All that glitters is not gold, and if I like it, I can click insert, and you can see it's now inserted in my paper. I get the little footnote for the to, and I get the citation. Again, I'm going to caution this isn't the correct way that we necessarily do a bibliography or citation for a paper, but it does give you an option to work with that. And you can go through to several other options for filtering. So the research tool, as I said, it's not very popular or widely used, and there are certainly better ways to perform research, but if you are working with colleagues and you quickly need to find something and you know it's on Google, you want to insert a link. If a student needs to find a quote and they want to go ahead and insert that, they can quickly put those in their paper. And this isn't so much about giving feedback as it is about finding a new way to use Google Docs that maybe you wouldn't think of before. You can certainly give feedback on those things, so I can close out of the research tool. And just like before, if we went into the suggesting mode, I could go here and I could say, maybe I want to highlight this and I could say, do you think this quote is appropriate? So because this has now become a part of our paper, it functions just like the normal things that you would have in a paper, and we could remove it, resolve it, do whatever we need to. So just one more function that we add to our Google Docs toolbox, and that is the research function.